Alright boys, ShiftUp has posted also the Mori kit, the free welfare character. Everyone will be able to get to MLB, so let's talk a little bit about what her kit does, if it's worth using her or not as a new player, and my initial impressions on her skills. As usual, thank you to my patrons for helping me making all this content, love you all bastards, and welcome back to the Waifus. I'm Sefhi, your favorite gambling addict. Let's talk a little bit about the new girl, cute face, angry tomboy. Nice belly, I will say too as well. Let's talk a little bit about her skills and what's going on with her. Assault Rifle Defender B2 Wind type. As a general rule of thumb, welfare characters are not too good. The welfare characters are just literally there for new players to use until they get anything else. I almost put a small white in here. The only good welfare we've gotten so far was a small white. She was actually a good DPS. At the time, she was like a decent DPS that you could be using as a new player, and even veterans could use for the specific weak wind raids as a, team 3, 4, 5 character, depending what you had built at that time, because Iron doesn't have that many DPSs. So that was like the only decent welfare character we got. Then we got OG Rapunzel, also decent, but she has the gimmick of you have to manual her, which is a pain in the ass. And now we're getting Mori. Mori falls under the category of more of like Rey, not that useful of a character, mostly because she's a taunter without heals for herself, meaning for the most part she's gonna get herself killed basically every single time. So let's go over all their skills. Skill 1, it's Mauling Hiding, it's a passive, as you can see, activates when entering battle. She will get the shield based on the final max HP, and then when using burst skill, she is not in a struggle, so if the shield has broken, she will reapply that shield, 40% of final max HP. Final max HP means you can be using characters like Rogue to make it better. So that's not awful, right? At least it's final max HP, so you can work on adding characters and putting her with the Vigor Cube, for example, to increase those shields, to make them fatter, thicker, if you will, right? Just like the belly. And then activates when the struggle status ends, so when your shield breaks once again, and she will increase her max HP by 5% continuously, stacking up to 5 times, which is going to be making her shields stronger every single time you are proccing this. The other thing she's getting is another passive skill, All Out Support. As you can see, activates after landing 60 normal attacks when self is in struggle status. So if you have a shield applied, you are taunting for 4 seconds. 60 normal attacks for an assault rifle would mean basically 5 seconds, assuming constantly shooting, no reloading, no covering, no nothing, 5 seconds. So you are not going to have 100% uptime on the taunt, which is good, because if it was 100%, like already like 80% of the time uptime on a taunt for this character, means she's going to get killed at high combat power deficits. But for a new player, this is good enough for her to survive long enough to get her shield back. For anyone that's not new, that is mid-game, late game, sadly, her taunt is too long, like 4 seconds without any sort of survivability outside her shield. It's not gonna make her tanky enough to survive any of the current raptors we have that are really annoying. And then she has an interesting mechanic right here as well. Activates when the parts of an ally, including casters, are destroyed. Affects all allies, increasing sustained damage by 2%, stacking up to 5 times, lasting for 15 seconds. This is, we are assuming, we do not know. As usual, we are assuming so many things on this pre-analysis, but it is what it is, right? We think this will work if a shield breaks, if a decoy breaks, all of these things that the characters can summon. I don't think there's anything else other than decoys and shields that you could actually break as a part of a character in order to proc this buff. This is also kind of like a big conditional, because it means it's gonna be ultra niche, right? Outside of her, there is not a lot of characters you could be using. You could be running Rogue with Mori and Cinderella, since all of them are actually max HP characters, and Cinderella also has the decoy, so she will also be able to proc the sustained damage. But the sustained damage is kind of useless, because there is no good sustained damage DPS. No, Breathy is distribute, okay? We do not run Breathy as a sustain for now. So this part of the skill is kind of useless, and the second part is also pretty useless, because it's the same thing. Activates when the parts of an ally, including casters, are destroyed. Affects one enemy unit with the highest attack, dealing 23% of final attack as sustained damage every second for 15 seconds. Sustained damage is not on a good spot, and even this character, Mori herself, is doing a total of 20%, assuming you have all the buffs stacked up. So it's not that good. 20% increase on the 23% of final attack on a defender character. Sadly, as cute as the tomboy is, it's not an amazing kit. and her skill 2 is kind of weak. And then lastly, you have survival tactics of the week. Cooldown time 20 seconds. Activate when you have an active shield, struggle status. You recover shield HP equal to 15% of caster's final max HP. The problem with this is if you are not breaking the shields, you are basically not activating your sustained damage buff. Meaning it's counterintuitive to have this skill 2 and this burst. Your burst recovers the shield HP, so you would want to focus on making your shields stronger. But if you don't break your shield, you don't activate the sustained damage buff. So it's kind of like, what the fuck is this, shift up? But it is what it is. She also increases her own HP for the whole duration of the fell burst. And then lastly, sustained damage increase 10%, another 10 seconds. Sustained buffs are still not great. We are still not getting any decent sustained damage dealers, so these buffs are useless. We'll see with Mihara how good she is, how much damage she will be able to do, and if it's worth running her with Mori or with Crust or with any of these characters that can increase actual sustained damage. And that said, not an amazing character. I really like her design, but I don't see any situation where it would be worth investing in her unless she is your waifu. If that is the case though, go for it, nothing wrong with that, but that's gonna be for our video. Yeah, as a new player, when we get the new event, we'll talk more about priority for new players on who you should be getting. That's what's gonna be for this video. Let me know your thoughts about her kit in the comments down below, bossos. We're gonna be live later. As usual, come by, say hello, have a great day. Love you all, and see you on the next one.